Barada Nikto.
The Day the Earth Stood Still is not just a classic science fiction film, it is also a hidden warning wrapped in mystery, philosophy, and unforgettable imagery. As Klaatu walks among humans under the alias John Carpenter, the audience is drawn into a story that is both tense and thought-provoking, exploring ethics and the future of humanity against the backdrop of the Cold War. From the mysterious mantra Klaatu Barada Nikto to the precise scientific equations on Professor Barnhart's blackboard, the film is packed with fascinating details that often go unnoticed. Could these hidden elements be the reason the movie has maintained its lasting influence? And what shocking behind-the-scenes stories contributed to the enduring life of this masterpiece? Discover it all in the video. 20. Michael Rennie's casting as Klaatu was a strategic decision. Choosing Michael Rennie for the role of Klaatu in The Day the Earth Stood Still was a strategic move by producer Julian Blaustein and director Robert Wise. They rejected famous stars like Spencer Tracy and Claude Rains, not due to lack of talent, but because familiar faces might carry associations from previous roles, making it hard for audiences to believe they were watching a visitor from another world. Instead, they chose Michael Rennie, a British actor little known in the US at the time. Standing 6'4", 1.93 metres, with a solemn demeanour, Rennie conveyed the image of a refined extraterrestrial rather than a Hollywood star in costume. Born in Idle, West Riding of Yorkshire, England, Rennie began his acting career after working in car sales and factory management. Before playing Klaatu, he had a few roles in England and was known on American television. However, Klaatu remained his only leading role in Hollywood, and it became one of the most memorable performances in science fiction film history. Are you impressed by Rennie's portrayal of Klaatu? Share your thoughts in the comments. 19. Spaceship Design by Thomas Little and Claude Carpenter. The design of Klaatu and Gort's spaceship broke new ground, reflecting the spirit of the space and nuclear age. The ship was designed by Thomas Little and Claude Carpenter, in collaboration with renowned architect Frank Lloyd Wright. The interior is said to have been inspired by Wright's Johnson Wax Headquarters, 1936, featuring mushroom-shaped columns and expansive spaces, creating an environment both modern and mysterious. Additionally, the ship was designed to glow in the dark, a special feature that made it a pop culture icon. This not only enhanced its mystique, but also reflected the technological optimism of the era. With its unique and striking design, the spaceship in The Day the Earth Stood Still became one of the signature images of classic science fiction. 18. The film was adapted from a story. Interestingly, the film was adapted from the 1940 science fiction short story Farewell to the Master by Harry Bates. Originally, Bates's story focused on a great robot and the reverence it commanded. But North's screenplay restructured the plot, shifting the focus from robot worship to a powerful message of peace, reflecting fears of nuclear war during the Cold War era. To secure adaptation rights, Fox paid $1,000 for the short story, a small investment that yielded major artistic and commercial success. The film's title underwent several considerations, from Farewell to the Master to Journey to the World, then The Day the World Stood Still, before finally settling on The Day the Earth Stood Still, a title with weight, urgency, and a direct nod to the moment the entire Earth must stand still before an unexpected event. 17. John Carpenter is a reference to Jesus. Klaatu is not just an alien, he is a symbol, a living message of humanity's redemption. Upon leaving the spaceship, Klaatu is shot by the military, taken to Walter Reed Hospital, and then mysteriously escapes. Taking the alias John Carpenter, a subtle reference to Jesus, the great carpenter, Klaatu enters the human world on a mission to warn and save humanity, keeping audiences on the edge of their seats. Klaatu's shooting and subsequent revival serve as a vivid metaphor for sacrifice and a timeless message of peace. Carrying the warning that humanity will self-destruct if it does not abandon war, his name, resurrection, and quiet observation of humans create a gripping philosophical narrative, making the film not only a science fiction classic, but also a profound humanist statement. 16. Lock Martin's grueling time in the Gort suit. Gort, the silent, invincible robot in The Day the Earth Stood Still, is one of the most iconic and terrifying symbols in sci-fi cinema. The character was played by Lock Martin, nearly 7'7" tall, from Grauman's Chinese theatre in Hollywood. Not a professional actor, Martin's towering height and imposing presence made him the perfect choice to accompany Klaatu, a powerful yet mysterious being inspiring awe and fear. However, playing Gort was more than just height. The robot suit, made from foam rubber and metallic paint, was heavy and cumbersome, restricting movement. Martin could wear it for only about half an hour at a time, and long scenes required careful coordination with puppets, hidden cables, and camera angles to create the illusion of Gort's extraordinary strength. In scenes where Gort lifts characters like Patricia Neal or Michael Rennie, Martin could not physically lift them, so the crew used doll props or carts. One memorable moment shows Martin's arm twitching involuntarily during a long slope scene inside the spaceship due to muscle strain, a subtle detail that added realism and eeriness to Gort. Despite these harsh physical challenges, Lock Martin delivered a commanding and terrifying portrayal of Gort. Do you appreciate this iconic performance? Share your thoughts below. 15. The film's franchise script in 1981. Failed. In 1981, 20th Century Fox invited the renowned science fiction writer Ray Bradbury to write a script for a sequel to The Day the Earth Stood Still, titled The Day the Earth Stood Still 2, The Evening of the Second Day. The film was planned to open on Christmas Eve, 30 years after the events of the first installment, when a spacecraft would land at Cape Canaveral. Chris Atkins, a NASA engineer, witnesses the event and realizes that he had seen a similar event as a child. However, this time, the one who lands is not Klaatu, but his daughter, Klaatu. She comes to Earth with the mission of assessing humanity's progress over the past 3 decades. During her stay on Earth, Klaatu develops a romantic relationship with Chris Atkins. She reveals to him that her mission involves carrying out a series of global disappearances, which would result in the depletion of oil resources within 20 years. Klaatu gives Chris a box, said to contain Gort's heart, and promises that if humanity completes its mission within the given time, the box will open a gateway to bring him to her. However, if they fail, the box will never open, and humanity will face severe consequences. The project. The Day the Earth Stood Still 2. The Evening of the Second Day, penned by Ray Bradbury in 1981, was never brought to the big screen, primarily because the script's content did not align with 20th Century Fox's direction at the time. Do you think this script would have been engaging? If it had been produced, would it have been a success? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 14. News suggested Klaatu's home planet was Venus or Mars. A news report once calmly stated that Klaatu's most likely home planets were Venus or Mars, as these were considered the most habitable. In 1951, this hypothesis made sense. Venus was thought to share Earth-like features, while Mars had long captured astronomers' and imagination's interest as a possible home for extraterrestrial life. In this context, the idea that an intelligent being like Klaatu might come from one of these planets was plausible, sparking both scientific and dramatic excitement. Yet reality proved harsher than fiction. Today, we know Venus is scorched by a runaway greenhouse effect, unable to support complex life, let alone an interstellar civilization. Mars, though heavily studied, shows no confirmed signs of life, and if any exists, it would likely be microscopic. Since then, scientists have expanded the search to distant celestial bodies, focusing on icy moons around Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, where life, though very different from Earth, seems more feasible. These discoveries transformed theories about Klaatu's origin from mere imagination into a thrilling scientific mystery, drawing audiences into a vast, dangerous, and fascinating universe. 13. Set in Washington, D.C., but no filming. Actually there. Although The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951, is set in Washington, D.C., most of the film was actually shot in Hollywood, California. Exterior shots of D.C. were minimal and mostly handled by a second unit. Director Robert Wise used fake outdoor sets, stunt doubles and studio interior designs to recreate famous landmarks such as the National Mall, Lincoln Memorial, and Arlington Memorial Bridge. This approach saved time and money while maintaining visual quality throughout production. One notable aspect was the use of models and simulated designs to create exterior scenes. For example, the spaceship landing at the ellipse was recreated in the studio using miniature models and special camera techniques. 12. The mantra. Klaatu Barada Nikto has powerful influence. Klaatu Barada Nikto, the 3 words spoken in The Day the Earth Stood Still, are not merely a command, but a mystical mantra for saving Earth, imbued with mystery and dread. Created by screenwriter Edmund H. North, it has no official translation, leaving 1950s audiences shivering and wondering if a hidden message lay within. In the film, Klaatu instructs Helen Benson to speak the words to Gort if he is harmed, an action that alone can prevent the robot's wrath and save both human and alien lives. The phrase resonates like a curse from the future, cold yet profoundly humane, tightening every viewer's pulse. The mantra's power extends beyond the screen. It became a pop culture icon, appearing in countless sci-fi works and literature, from Star Wars, Return of the Jedi to Army of Darkness, even novels like The Armageddon Rag. It serves as a mystical keyword reminding humans of responsibility and control. Are you familiar with this cold, futuristic warning? Share your thoughts below. 11. A scene completely cut. The film once contained a highly controversial subplot in the background. In the revised final draft dated February 21, 1951, a scene titled Police Precinct Station Night shows Klaatu, after being shot, taken directly to a police station instead of following the usual path with Professor Barnhart. In the cramped cell, military and police officers debate the fate of the alien visitor as if he were a mere criminal. If this scene had remained, the film's tense rhythm and philosophical message might have been stifled halfway through. It is unclear whether this scene was only on paper or actually filmed and then cut. Director Robert Wise never confirmed it, and 20th Century Fox left it in ambiguity. Some film scholars argue cutting the police precinct scene was extremely wise, preventing the story from feeling like a lifeless bureaucratic procedure and maintaining Professor Barnhart's intellectual stature, contrasting with the rigidity of the military and government. Cutting the scene was a golden snip that preserved the film's tightly wound tension. 10. Professor's Blackboard. Written by Dr. Samuel Herrick. At a time when sci-fi often meant rubber-suited monsters and pseudo-science, this film stood out for rare authenticity. When Klaatu, disguised as Mr. Carpenter, visits Professor Barnhart, he corrects a series of complex equations on the blackboard. These formulas are not random symbols, but actual equations describing the three-body problem in Newtonian gravity, a famous issue in celestial mechanics. To ensure accuracy, the filmmakers consulted Dr. Samuel Herrick, UCLA astronomy professor, who developed these equations. This dedication shows the film is not just fantasy, but a serious scientific study placing extraordinary events in a recognizable real world. The three-body problem, which has no general solution in classical physics, involves predicting the motion of three interacting celestial bodies. Including these formulas in the film enhances realism and reflects the filmmaker's commitment to accurately depicting scientific elements in a fictional narrative. 9. Michael Rennie on a cart in the Gort carry scene. One of the most striking scenes is when the robot Gort carries Klaatu to the spaceship. However, few know an interesting behind-the-scenes secret. Lock Martin, who played Gort, wore a bulky, metallic spray foam rubber suit that was heavy and hot, making movement extremely difficult. He could only remain in the suit for about half an hour at a time. For the scene of Gort carrying Klaatu, Martin could not physically perform it, so the crew used hidden wires, lightweight dummies, and clever camera angles to create the illusion of strength. Another fun detail, in the scene where Gort carries Patricia Neal, the actress actually sat on a cart just outside the frame, pushed by crew members, because Martin could not lift her at all. Martin endured immense physical strain, and in a long slope shot inside the spaceship, his arm visibly twitches from fatigue. A subtle detail retained in the final cut. 8. How they made the spaceship seamless. One of the most striking and mysterious images in The Day the Earth Stood Still is Klaatu's seamless flying saucer. When the ship's door opens, a ramp magically extends from its smooth, uninterrupted hull. There are no visible doors, joints, or handles. How could they create such a futuristic effect in a pre-digital era? The solution was pure Hollywood ingenuity. The visual effects team, led by Fred Serson, knew that any visible seam would ruin the alien illusion. So, for the full-scale flying saucer prop, the filmmakers filled the ramp's joint with ordinary putty, sanded it smooth, and painted it silver to match the rest of the ship. When the internal mechanism activated, it split the putty perfectly, creating a flawless, seemingly magical division that appeared to emerge from thin air. It was a simple, brilliant, and cost-effective solution that perfectly captured the feel of advanced technology that no one had seen before. Fred Serson was an American special effects artist who worked primarily at 20th Century Fox Studios from the 1930s to the 1950s. He created visual effects for over 200 films, including The Rains Came, 1939, and Crash Dive, 1943, both of which won Oscars for Best Visual Effects. His creativity and skill in crafting special effects played a crucial role in the film's enduring success. 7. Casting. Real journalists on screen. Director Robert Wise made a bold decision. Turn The Day the Earth Stood Still into an almost documentary-like film, making extraordinary events as vivid and convincing as possible. A key part of this strategy was casting real journalists. Instead of hiring actors to play reporters, Wise brought in familiar, credible voices from American journalism at the time. H.V. Kaltenborn, Gabriel Heater, and Elmer Davis, known from daily radio and newsreels. Audiences in 1951 instantly recognized their faces and voices. When these reporters described the UFO landing with the same seriousness as real-world events, the effect is stunning. The line between fiction and reality blurs, making unbelievable scenes feel both logical and eerily familiar, drawing viewers into a world where science fiction and reality merge. 6. Bernard Herrmann's Alien score. The Day the Earth Stood Still impressed not only with its story, but also with Bernard Herrmann's unique score. To create an alien sound, Herrmann used 1 to 2 theremins, each tuned to different frequencies to produce a disorienting stereo effect. He combined them with a distinctive orchestra of electric violin, cello, bass, multiple organs, and massive percussion, experimenting with pioneering techniques like overdubbing and reverse tape playback to create a wholly new sonic environment. However, the score was not the only controversial element. Klaatu's resurrection scene raised concerns with the MPAA about potential religious connotations. To address this, a line was added in which Klaatu explains that Gort's resurrection power is temporary and reserved for the omnipotent soul, easing concerns and keeping the film within censorship standards of the time. 5. A huge cultural impact. Upon its release, the film became not only an outstanding science fiction work, but also a cultural icon reflecting the anxieties and hopes of the Cold War era. Released during a period of global tension and nuclear threat, the film used science fiction as a metaphor to pose profound questions about morality, peace, and humanity's survival. Its anti-war message and call for international cooperation paved the way for films like 2001, A Space Odyssey and Contact, and influenced franchises such as Star Trek, promoting peace and exploration. The phrase Klaatu Barada Nikto from the film entered popular culture, referenced in works like George Lucas's Return of the Jedi. Although it initially earned only a modest $185 million at the US box office, the film gradually gained recognition as a masterpiece, preserved in the US National Film Registry since 1995, and consistently ranked among the greatest science fiction films of all time. Beyond cultural influence, The Day the Earth Stood Still had a significant impact on the film industry. The movie demonstrated that science fiction could be a mainstream genre, not just for children or B-movies. With Robert Wise's direction and Bernard Herrmann's revolutionary score, it elevated the genre to a new level. The combination of deep storytelling and exceptional filmmaking drew attention from critics and audiences alike, even if initial reception was modest. 4. US Department of Defense refused to cooperate. As production of The Day the Earth Stood Still, 1951, approached, a major challenge arose. The US Department of Defense refused to cooperate. The film's script, with its clear anti-war message portraying humans as aggressive creatures and tribalism as a threat to universal peace, made the Pentagon unwilling to have the military associated with a politically controversial movie. In the Cold War era, when patriotism and militarism were ascendant, this decision posed not only a production hurdle, but also demonstrated the courage of the producer and director in standing firm on their progressive message. Undeterred, the filmmakers turned to the 3rd Armored Cavalry Regiment at Fort Meade, Maryland, an independent military unit, to provide vehicles and personnel for filming. This solution enabled realistic depictions of human-alien confrontations while emphasizing the film's subtle conflict with government authority. The combination of anti-war narrative and authentic military scenes made The Day the Earth Stood Still both thrilling and socially resonant, leaving a lasting impact for decades. 3. Professor Barnhart almost didn't appear in the film. In the politically tense 1950s, the film was not just entertaining science fiction, but a bold statement on peace and anti-militarism. Released during the Cold War, it cleverly used the alien as a metaphor to raise profound questions about humanity and the world's future. Casting Sam Jaffe as Professor Barnhart added depth to the film. Despite being blacklisted in Hollywood for suspected communist sympathies, Jaffe was trusted by director Robert Wise to play this important role. This decision not only showcased the filmmaker's courage, but also stood as a strong statement on free speech and resistance to political oppression in the film industry. 2. Casting challenges. Casting Klaatu in The Day the Earth Stood Still required careful consideration from producer Julian Blaustein and director Robert Wise. Initially, Spencer Tracy was considered, but his fame could make it hard for audiences to separate him from previous roles. Next, Claude Rains, a seasoned star known for The Invisible Man, was suggested, but he had to decline due to Broadway commitments. Eventually, Michael Rennie, a relatively unknown British actor in the US, was chosen. Patricia Neal, cast as Helen Benson, delivered a remarkable performance. Playing a World War II widow living with her son Bobby and first encountering Klaatu, Neal's classic beauty and deep acting skill captivated audiences. She later won the Oscar for Best Actress for HUD, 1963, and left her mark in films like Breakfast at Tiffany's, 1961. Sam Jaffe portrayed Professor Jacob Barnhart, an intellectual companion to Klaatu, in conveying his message of peace. Jaffe, a veteran actor, had been nominated for an Oscar for Best Supporting Actor for The Asphalt Jungle, 1950, and appeared in notable films like Ben-Hur, 1959, and Gunga Din, 1939. Are you impressed with the cast? Share your thoughts in the comments below. 1. The 2008 remake was not well received. The 2008 remake of The Day the Earth Stood Still, starring Keanu Reeves as Klaatu, offered a modern take on the 1951 classic but failed to win over critics and audiences. The basic plot remained. An alien arrives on Earth to warn humanity. However, instead of focusing on nuclear threats, the remake emphasized environmental issues and climate change. Reeves's Klaatu appears as a messenger with a clear warning. If humans do not change their ways and protect the planet, Earth will face destruction. Despite grossing over $233 million worldwide, the film fell short of expectations. Critics noted a lack of depth and failure to capture the original's significance. On Rotten Tomatoes, it earned only 21% positive reviews, and Metacritic scored it 4,100, reflecting mixed or average reviews. Audiences were also unimpressed, with a cinema score of C showing disappointment over the message and tension from the original not being fully conveyed. One highlight of the 2008 version was the modern visual effects and action sequences, making Klaatu and Gort appear more vivid on the big screen. However, while the effects were impressive, many scenes were criticized for lacking emotional depth and dramatic tension. Critics and audiences agreed that the film largely lost the mystery and humanity that gave the original its timeless appeal. The Day the Earth Stood Still remains not only a classic sci-fi film, but also a treasure trove of fascinating behind-the-scenes stories. From the strategic casting of Michael Rennie, a nearly unknown actor for Klaatu, to the physical challenges of Lock Martin as Gort, and the iconic mantra Klaatu Barada Nikto echoing throughout pop culture, every detail contributed to the film's enduring legacy. Which of these facts surprises you? Or is there a detail that makes you want to watch the movie again with fresh eyes? Thank you for joining us on this journey to uncover untold secrets of The Day the Earth Stood Still. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more classic films, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. The Day the Earth Stood Still is not just a classic science fiction film, it is also a hidden warning wrapped in mystery, philosophy, and unforgettable imagery. As Klaatu walks among humans under the alias John Carpenter,